You want to talk about it? I'd rather laugh about it. Let's get a little dark about it on the Traumedy Show.
Welcome to the Traumedy Show. I'm your co-host, Rachel Wilford.
And I'm your other co-host, Megan Wilford.
And today we have Shelby Susnick with us, also known on social media as @BooBleTheSnoot. She is a dog mom and social media content creator known for her authentic and relatable storytelling. And through her content, Shelby shares her life with her beloved dog. I think his name's Russell, right?
Russell, yeah.
Russell, yeah. And her husband, and more recently, her journey through loss and grief. She is known for her blend of humor with heartache, which makes her our perfect guest. So welcome, Shelby.
Thank you so much.
Yay, welcome. We are excited to have you here. I think I originally came across one of your videos and sent it, or Rachel reached out. It definitely came across one of our profiles, one of your more viral reels of your sweet dog and you experiencing a loss. And I sent it to my boyfriend and he and I were both crying. And then it really touched me in a lot of ways. And then when Rachel was like, oh my gosh, she booked us. I'm like, I remember her. Like, yeah, you're the one who sent the video, Megan. Yes. So I was really excited when I saw that you were going to talk to us and we could talk to you a little bit more about your story, because it's just one of those that just kind of touches a lot of people, which is, I think, why it's gotten so much kind of attention on social media lately. And to also start off this interview on the humor related note, I am so excited to see you post yesterday that you were launching a hemorrhoid support group.
Something that needs to be talked about more. I think, again, I would rather be the face of hemorrhoids than what I'm actually going through. So, yes, love it.
I will, we should band together or something. You should, I know that, yes. And I know that this interview is obviously going to be on the heavier side with talking about your story, but we should make some collaborated hemorrhoid content.
Yes.
Can we collab on some butthole humor, butthole pain video? Yeah. I would love to do that with you.
It's sponsored by Tux. That's what we really need to happen here. So Tux,
or Prep H.
There's a big community online that's searching for you, and we're ready to talk about it.
Please,
we DM'd them on Instagram at one point, and we've tried to be like, Prep H, can we get a brand deal? I think at one point I even looked up the social media content person on LinkedIn for preparation because we have talked about hemorrhoids so much on this, more than any podcast, I'm positive. So when you posted that video last night about the bathtub scene and your dog being really worried about you and you mentioning what was really going on was a sitz bath for your hemorrhoids, I was like, oh my God, she's meant to be a guest, because
my digital footprint, as I said, is already long gone and out there. I mean, would I not get a job because I talked about hemorrhoids online? Exactly.
And you don't want that job anyway.
Why wouldn't we
a place that wouldn't hire you for hemorrhoid awareness?
No, if they're hiring you, they're hiring your anal fissures as well. And be inclusive. One time, Shelby, we got an email. Our demographic is typically millennial women. And one time we got an email from this guy who was in his late 40s or early 50s, just emphatically so excited about how much we talk about hemorrhoids and how much it meant to him. And that he tries to talk about his issues with hemorrhoids on dates and stuff, and it doesn't get the best reaction. And he has a bidet and more people should have bidets. And it is to this day the best email I've ever received. So
if you're
so glad that you're
for you. Might go a different direction. This is for you.
At least this portion of the podcast. Yes.
And I love that when you responded to our email, you were like, my husband immediately was like, yes, you are such a dark humor kind of girly. So you're just perfect for
comedy, just joking about. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I have a few things that I want to mention. One is that I realized at a young age that I have a coping mechanism of nervous laughter. I don't know if you guys feel this way. But I laugh at the wrong times or when I'm getting very serious. I think it's my body's way of going back, being it's okay. It's not that bad. Even if it is that bad, my body's it's, especially with what I'm going through right now. If I knew that I'd be going through something like this, I would have tried to pick up a different coping mechanism. So if you hear a weird chuckle at a time that should not be there, just know that.
Yeah.
That's you.
That's a normal, healthy, healing coping mechanism, though. And it's what we do on this podcast.
Everybody needs the girl who's laughing at the funeral, inappropriately.
Yeah. And I'm laughing at my own jokes usually that I have going on. So
yeah. And then people are like, oh my God, you made a joke about that. Are you okay? And you're like, yeah, no, please laugh with me.
Like, yes, I am okay, but also no, I'm not okay.
No,
fundamentally.
Well, with that, I was just going to transition to, I would love to know more about you. Obviously, we're here because you want to tell your specific story of what you're going through right now, but any background you want to give about your life. I know you're married. You have this cute, adorable dog and this Instagram account. So any kind of like background story you'd like to give, feel free to dive in.
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to thank you guys for having me, especially because this conversation is it's a conversation that not a lot of people are having. I feel, if I just get into it, I feel like a lot of people talk about like miscarriages, but stillbirths are not really something that is talked about very much because it's maybe, I don't know if it's that I haven't done the research because it's still so recent. It's something that's like very tragic to talk about and that it's hard to make kind of a light of it in any way. Yeah. But there is a community of these people who've had stillbirths out there, or infant deaths. And so thank you guys for having me on. And I hope maybe anybody listening to this, can know that they're not alone. It's very tough, but yeah, thank you guys for having me on for that.
Oh, of course. That's so sweet. And yeah, it's our pleasure.
Yes. So a little bit about me. I am married to my husband, Omar. We met, it'll be 10 years ago this year. We met in 2016. I always reminisce of the summer of 2016. It was my favorite summer. I had moved to Miami and I met him at like a Taco Tuesday. Love at first sight, kind of. I played hard to get. Yeah.
Adorable.
And then we ended up getting married in 2022. We have a crazy, chaotic love story that we could maybe talk about on another podcast.
But did you have to postpone your wedding at all for COVID?
No, it was just like before we even got engaged or moved in together, we had like broken up and all this stuff. It was very crazy. And then I evacuated a hurricane to come stay with him. And very crazy.
As one does. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I love our love story.
Yeah.
And then we got our dog
Hurricane
Russell.
of Love.
Yeah.
TM.
If the hurricane had a better name, it was Hurricane Irma. I'm like, I can't do anything with that. Sorry if your name is Irma, but I'm like, I feel like I can't do anything with that name.
It's a rough one.
But we got our dog Russell in 2019. Love him so much. It's actually my husband's first dog he's ever had. He grew up without pets. And he had parvo when he was a puppy, which is a deadly virus. He almost didn't make it. Crazy story about that. In 2020, I downloaded TikTok in February of 2020, right before the pandemic shut down. And I was like, let's make some videos for fun. And then lockdown happened, of course, kind of invested my time in that. But I started the page about Russell. I'm like, Russell is my son. I am a dog mom. He's my firstborn child.
I feel the same.
Yes. And
I have an Instagram account for my dog as well. Not nearly as successful as yours.
It's very funny.
But yeah,
I just
it's
was
our
sharing
child.
my story of just relatable, again, no filter, open and honest, just being a dog mom, just funny things like him licking his paws at 3 a.m. and anything like that. And then I realized that you can make money making videos. I did not know that was a possible avenue. I thought that was more people on YouTube making long form content because TikTok was kind of new. And I really liked it. I love my creative side. I was working at a nonprofit job. My background's in nonprofit management. And so then I just dove into my full-time content creation with my dog, Russell.
Wow.
Yeah. And so Russell.
Did he get a big following quickly? Like at that time?
It's been, it happened. A big following happened. And then it just kept growing. More people just kept finding us, those little viral moments. yeah, so I mostly leaned on the fact that Russell is my child. And I would say that I was like, oh my God, if and when I get pregnant, my following is going to be so mad. They're going to be so upset. I always said that like me getting pregnant would be bad for my brand. It's so hilarious. Because it's just, my dog is my child, but yeah, there's a lot of difference in the community. When I was pregnant, I would talk about how like the human mom community and the dog mom community sometimes never got along, and how we can get along.
Yeah.
Yes.
With dogs and babies together. Yeah. That's kind of all that's all my feed is right now, but that's a whole nother good niche.
Yeah. And so, we were living in Atlanta, and then we moved to Austin, Texas, closer to my husband's family, so we could eventually start a family. And, for us, it happened kind of quicker than we thought, which is definitely a blessing for us. When it happened, I actually, funny story, my baby Mia was conceived on my birthday. It's very funny.
Birthday sex.
Yeah. Very funny. I thought I'm like, oh, if she comes any sooner, she's going to think she's a Valentine's Day baby. My birthday's March 4th. So like Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Like, she's not a Valentine's Day baby. She is my birthday baby. Yeah, it was very funny going to the doctor's appointment, and they figured out the date, and I was like, checks out. Very funny. So
that's how good the sex was on your birthday, was that you conceived a child.
Go Omar.
It just so happened to be that day, which is I love. Later on, I had announced that I was pregnant on my social media. Response, a lot of people, congratulations.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of drop off, which I have learned is totally okay.
Really? Like people unfollowed you?
People unfollow. But I've learned that it's totally okay, because those people would not have been for me, been there for me later on. So
that's so interesting. They're like, we're only here for the dog. You're having a human child. Exactly. We're out. That's wild.
I had only announced that I was pregnant. I had not announced that I was like changing my content anyway. I just, I'm having a baby, and everyone's like, gone.
Peace.
Some people are pretty anti-baby content or like whatnot. Like, I'm going to cleanse my feed of that, which I don't relate to, but
boo.
But that's fine. You found your right audience. Yeah.
It's also crazy. There's other things, like sometimes when you announce good things are happening, even like with, I would say like some social media, like influencers, if they post like their boyfriend, then people will unfollow, and it's mostly guys. So if I would say, word of advice, if you are in any social way, like on social media in any way, don't hide anything that's like any positive things in your life, because you think people are going to leave, because those people were not supposed to be there anyways. It's not worth keeping those followers by not announcing exciting things happening.
Amen.
Good point. Yeah.
Yes.
That.
Yes. So I announced that I was pregnant. Very exciting. I had a very typical normal, sorry, I don't really have a word for it. Just nothing abnormal was going on in my pregnancy, the whole pregnancy. I will say the first trimester was absolutely awful, because I had a lot of morning sickness. Also, there's a lot of like mental health medication that you can't be on while you're pregnant. So it's like mentally going through so much when you're pregnant. But luckily there's some medication that you can still be on while you're pregnant for your mental health. So that was a positive, but first trimester, well, the rest really great. So also, I will also, sorry, I keep saying this, but, during my pregnancy, I had never felt more like confident and beautiful in my entire life, which is amazing. I had like realized like some things about me too. There's a lot of like clarity that you go through, when you're pregnant. I would say also when you're not drinking or being like, your brain is just completely clear when you're pregnant, besides like brain fog, but there's a lot of like clarity that comes when you're pregnant, which is a blessing. But I never felt more beautiful. I noticed a lot of things about me too. Like things like I didn't realize that I sucked in when I took photos of like, like when you're like in a group photo, I sucked in until I was pregnant and had like a belly, I was like, wait, because you can
stick it out proud.
Exactly. So that's just like, you just feel so beautiful because you're like, wow, I'm like making a human. Very cool experience.
Yeah.
So I will say those were some positive things about my pregnancy.
I love that.
Where things kind of took a change was when I went to my 36-week appointment. So 36 weeks, it's like the quick math, if you will. It's like around like almost 9 months.
Okay.
So I would say that is 9 months. Up to 9 months, 40 weeks is full term pregnancy. Again, before I was pregnant, I didn't know if someone did weeks in my head, I could not do the math. So at my 36-week growth ultrasound is the one where you kind of just see how baby is doing. They discovered that my baby was still breech, which I knew, which means that her feet were down, her head was up, and that she had her nuchal cord wrapped around her neck twice. And so that was alarming. I so happened to, when I was born, I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck as well, just once. It happens. It is fairly scary. But we were just going to do more ultrasounds to be able to track her and everything. I did multiple ultrasounds a week and everything was okay until it wasn't. Basically, baby was fine. Then all of a sudden, no heartbeat. I don't really want to get into that because that's something that I'm still processing with like PTSD and everything. But after I found out baby had no heartbeat, we couldn't get my C-section scheduled until the next day. So had to go home, which is just insane. But I decided to share that what had happened before I gave birth to her on social media, because I was like, I need people to be supporting us at this time. And so first of all, I was like, maybe I won't tell people until afterwards. I was like, maybe they'll just like, when she's here, just kind of say what happened. But I was like, no, I really need even like the strangers online that have been following our journey to know like what's going on. And I do not regret that at all. I think if anything, when I went to have my C-section next day, I felt like the most powerful I felt in my entire world. Like giving birth is already like a very insane experience, but having like I felt like physically lifted up by people thinking about us, which I don't think I can even describe. If anyone's listening here right now and they're maybe going through something and they're kind of scared to like let people know about it, there's a lot more people out there that you don't even know care about you. Again, I had people that I hadn't talked to in years reach out to us, people that I don't know. People reach out to me saying that they lost a child and I had no idea. They had not shared their story. Or maybe they shared the story and I didn't know, or they maybe just didn't have the same platform that I had. And they were just really happy to see that I was talking about something like this and being so open about it. So that was a pretty insane experience.
Yeah.
But despite the worst possible thing happening, everything went tremendously great. The hospital at St. David North in Austin, Texas, the nurses were incredible, absolutely amazing. I think they were all meant to be there. From all the way from my anesthesiologists, people at the staff cried with us. Very cool. And, I was, I think the blessing is that I was able to hold her and see her, to see what I made. So that was a little bit about the story, about that. I don't know how to turn this around for you guys.
No, there's no need to turn it around. I mean, I'm tearing up even imagining.
Yeah.
And I know it's really traumatic to even like retell the story, but what stuck with me is how talking about it also makes so many other people feel less alone too. I remember Chrissy Teigen, the celebrity, but she had a stillbirth several years ago and there was a lot of attention on it and she was so open about it. And that really, I remember people being like, why are you even sharing these photos? Like, this is so private. But she was like, I felt like sharing this, because it happens. It's terrible. It's probably the worst thing that could happen, but being able to share and make other people feel less alone and just feel connected in that grief and loss, and then sharing like your process of just recovery and moving on with life. Like, how do you even move on? You have to somehow, but talking about that on social, like, it means a lot. And I think your right audience is here now too. For you. So I'm so glad that you felt that sharing that was helpful, and that there is a positive side to social media sometimes, even though there's so many trolls and whatnot, and how you really felt like you were uplifted in that moment. So that's what stuck out for me.
Shelby, thank you for sharing that. I think you are very obviously a strong person, but you don't have to be strong like during this time. And I also want to say you don't have to be strong on this podcast too. Like, I know you're crying, and it's okay to cry. And we'll cry with you too. But that's an absolutely devastating thing for you to go through. And I'm super sorry that happened. And I think a question that's coming to mind is for anybody that maybe isn't super like familiar with stillbirth, or even like maybe the better question is like for somebody who knows someone in their life, or is faced with having to maybe be a support system for somebody who is going through stillbirth. What would you want those people to know?
Definitely. I didn't mention, so a lot of people have asked me like what happened to Mia as well, my daughter Mia. So it was the umbilical cord around her neck. It ended up being wrapped 4 times. Sorry if that's a little bit too much for this. No. But a lot of people ask that question because they're pregnant and they're kind of like, how did such a normal pregnancy turn out this way? And I've been meeting with a lot of groups of women who've gone through similar experiences, and they're kind of, how, if and when I ever get pregnant again, like, when can I breathe? Like, it feels like now that I got so close to the finish line, if I get pregnant again, a lot of people see like 24 weeks as kind of the point of viability, and you feel like you can breathe at 24 weeks. But I feel like I don't know if I'll ever be able to breathe again if I go through this process, but that's just the reality of it. And if you're going through this and are maybe thinking about going through it again, just know, like, I don't think I think all moms would say, like, even when the baby's here, you still can't breathe. You're still like hoping everything turns out okay. Like, are they okay? Is everything happening okay? I don't know why us women just go through this. And like, I can't explain it, because I would do this 10 times over, a million times over, even if it had the same outcome, because I had my daughter. And I never would regret that. I would do it all over again, for the same thing to happen. Of course, I would not want that to happen, but to say I wouldn't and would regret it, I could never say that. But yeah, if you're going through this, just don't hide yourself away. Find your community of support. I'm still figuring it out. Just know that we're all still figuring it out. And all of us are coping in different ways. I realized, like, there's certain things that kind of trigger me. I thought that seeing a baby would trigger me, but it's more the mundane things. I was our friends was having a coffee party at their house, and I was with a bunch of strangers, and I was like, it was my first kind of outing. And I was like, I'm going to be fine. It's strangers. They don't have to know what's happened to me or what's going on. And we got on the topic that I do social media, and it was a normal conversation. I'm like, yeah, my social media is Booble the Snoo. And they got their phone out and they were bringing it up. And I had realized, I was like, oh, they're about to see a lot of tragic stuff immediately. Yeah. And
what a fun party topic.
I was starting to get overwhelmed because there was a lot of people and a lot of conversations going, and I was trying to like stop the situation as they were pulling it up. And then I just got overwhelmed. I keep forgetting that I am postpartum. Like the baby's not here, but I am postpartum.
Yeah.
And like when the emotions hit and grief, like everything just hits so hard. And I could not recover myself. I could not recover. I tried so hard to laugh it off because that's just not laugh it off, but like change the conversation. I was like, yeah. And then like change to something else. And I realized that like everyone was kind of like, you know, when you're going through someone and you tell someone like a traumatic situation and they kind of just give you that like look of like,
yeah,
are you okay? And I couldn't.
No.
I'm like,
and I don't want to talk about it with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, it's not even like them asking if I'm okay. It's just that look of like, we care for you. They're strangers. And they're just giving me that look like, we care for you. And I'm trying to just like recover, like, let's get back to normal. Because I'm used to just being that like funny, bubbly person. And like, I'm like, don't worry, guys, we can get back to our normal conversation. No, it was not salvageable. I had to leave the party because I was like, I just need to go cry in the car. So yeah, it's been just those small, just moments that I had, they were so normal to me for so long. Like, here's my social media. It's a funny page about my dog.
Yeah.
And I had totally forgot that, oh, there's tragic stuff there now. It's still funny. I still share funny stuff. So it's just wild.
Yeah. You're figuring it out and you're finding a balance. Oh, sorry, Meg, to interrupt you.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Yeah. It's perfectly okay to not be okay, especially in a room full of strangers. Like, you know, you don't owe anybody an explanation. So perfectly okay to set boundaries and walk away for sure.
Scenario. Party.
I was like, I got
I was going to ask about your social media page, and like I noticed your bio, you do mention like grief and loss. Like, is that kind of where you're at now, where you think like, what are your thoughts behind your content moving forward? And do you feel called to share more about your experience and the loss and like moving on? Or do you think you might want to transition back to just Boople? Do you call your dog Boople? Is that
when he was a puppy? But
okay,
we call him so many different names. That's just one of the many.
Yeah.
In terms of my page, so my page has been evolving, as I think everyone should in social media. So my page has started off as a dog mom page, which in 2020 there was kind of like pet creators and then there was like human creators. And I was like, I want to be like the mom behind the dog. Like there's dog pages that I feel like are meant for kids, but my page is going to be like kind of more adult, like not like it's explicit, but more like kids are not going to relate to this. This is more of like dog moms go through this, millennial dog moms specifically. And so that's what everyone, when I would put more of myself on there, people were like, where's Russell? And I'm like, Russell doesn't always like to be on the camera. Like he's a dog. Like he just chills. Yeah. He's not an entertainer. He just like,
he's a part of a union. Like he has time off.
So I've always been like a dog mom page and like sharing like dog mom stuff. And then when I was pregnant, I was kind of sharing about like being pregnant with a dog. And then it was going to be more of dog baby. How do I navigate this? My dog is my firstborn. And then I was having my secondborn who's a human. And I was still like navigating what that is. And I don't know. I sometimes think that people online think we're like Taylor Swift and that we're like 10 steps ahead of them with like our content. And like she's always like 10 steps ahead, like planning like little Easter eggs. That is not how I flow my content at all. I sometimes when I make content, it's like I post it within like the same hour. I'm like, let's get this up here.
I always love to post right away. I feel like I don't have the patience to wait for the most optimal time.
Exactly. I'm like, if I have a really good idea, I feel like someone's going to go steal that idea. Even if it's super obscure, like hemorrhoids. I'm like, oh my God, someone this idea before. If I don't post this today, tomorrow someone else is going to be the face of hemorrhoids. Like, I need to post today. I don't think I have too much of a plan. I have discovered there is a whole community of people who have lost, people who have miscarriages, people who have had stillbirths or NICU deaths and things like that. And like these people are out there, and there's not very many people with a big, like you mentioned Chrissy Teigen, like it's hard for me to think of like people who've had a platform or had built a platform like before this happened. And kind of meshing it all together. Cause my followers who follow the dog content I'm happy they're still here. Like you're still here. You're seeing all of this, and it's giving spotlight to people that didn't have a spotlight to these other people. Like I didn't know about all of this at all.
About kind of some of the other viral reels that I found you from first was, I'm wondering for maybe some of our listeners who aren't familiar with those videos, if you could kind of describe that experience of, I remember in the actual video, you like came back from the hospital and I'm like, it was like Russell could maybe tell what had happened or something. I'm just, if you could kind of explain, like Russell's experience and his reaction since Mia.
Definitely. I had made some reels while I was pregnant about like, people are always like, dogs can sense when you're pregnant. And I feel like Russell could sense that I was pregnant. If he cared was another question. Cause like I was scratching and he would like kick my stomach. Like he could like literally try to kick my stomach. And I'm like, he's very in tune with my emotions. And especially like during my first trimester and throughout, I was very emotional. So he was clung at my side the entire time. Was it because, I mean, I think he did sense that Mia was there, but also that I was kind of emotional too. And he has this freaking French fry squeaker toy. I swear, this French fry squeaker toy, he normally rips up toys all the time, especially if it has a squeaker. He will find the squeaker and take it out. But this French fry squeaker toy, he got, I think in my early, maybe second trimester, and he would squeak it at my stomach, and my daughter Mia would move in my stomach. She literally would move, and we're like, she hears the squeaker. Like, I think she can hear the squeaker literally inside the womb.
She's like, what is that noise?
I also heard people saying that like if your dog barks while you're pregnant, that your baby will be more adapt to barking noises when they're there. So all that noise, great. Like get used to the squeakers, get used to the barking. But specifically the squeaker and that toy, she would move around my belly when Russell would squeak the toy. And which is just so sweet. And so after she passed, I also want to mention that at the hospital, what's really a sidebar, there's a thing called cooling cradles that it keeps the baby so you can stay with your stillborn throughout your stay in the hospital. So they're basically preserved. It basically took one grieving mother in Texas to advocate that all Texas hospitals have cooling cradles. So forever thankful to this mother. And I hope all hospitals eventually get cooling cradles so people can spend extra time with their babies after they've passed. So while she was in the hospital, we had her dressed in this hat, this little pink hat, while we got to spend time with her. And we were able to bring that home with us along with some other things that we got from the hospital. It was actually knitted by some volunteers, specifically for cases like mine. And we brought it home because it had her scent. And we had heard that when you bring a baby home, to have them smell their hat so they can get used to the baby smell before you bring the baby home. And I wanted Russell to be able to smell Mia, to know that she was here. We had got home and Russell had greeted me and everything, and we waited for him to settle down. He had brought out a bunch of toys for him because he gets really antsy and excited when we're home. And he had not picked up any toys at all. And so we decided to bring out Mia's hat. My mom was with us, and I told my mom to record that thing, just to record it, because I always wanted that moment. And he smelled the hat. If you watch the video, he smelled the hat, and he like asked for some back scratches, and it was really sweet. And then he walked over and grabbed the French fry toy. And I'm like, out of all the toys, that's why in the video I'm like in a state of shock, because I was like, he knows her. Like, he knows that like she's not here, like, or that's her. Like they can sense it. Very cool experience. I can't explain it. Dogs are just so smart. I can't, like, that's something that you can't explain. I don't know if it can be explained by science, whatever. Like, he has plenty of toys. He's a duck toy that he plays with all the time. But specifically this toy was his toy with Mia. And it's just everything.
He just knew.
Yeah. Everything about my experience with losing her, it's like, I can't explain it. There's just things that you just can't explain, like out of world experiences.
That's so sweet. To picture or think about Mia and Russell having like their own specific special relationship. And that, like, that's definitely the video I remember watching and just sitting there crying, being like, oh, wow, what a terrible thing to go through. But then like also so special that like your firstborn still is there as a support and knows as well. Yeah,
he definitely knows her. It's very sweet experience. And also I think losing her, so I had not experienced a lot of grief before losing my daughter. I've lost some grandparents and those were hard for me. Most of them were, one of them was like Parkinson's and cancer, things that we saw coming. My other grandpa died of a heart attack, but I was very young. So the shocking death of my grandparent is when I was young. So I had not experienced kind of like a death this close and this shocking before to go through. And I think experiencing this is giving me a lot of peace in death in ways that I had not known. I had always been scared of death and scared of bodies. In particular, if I went to a funeral and there was an open casket, I would look away. I was just so terrified of seeing anything like that. But when I held my daughter and was able to see like the peace with that, like it's a beautiful tragedy. It's so bittersweet. It's like selfish, almost selfish to want her here or want anybody here. So I think that knows, I mean, on social media, I post my dog. People always talk about like, what are you going to do when he passes away? It's so crazy that people comment that on a dog.
Why would they ask you that?
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
happens frequently.
No, he's going to live forever. Thanks.
I mean, even people like in my personal life, when I say that I run a dog social media account, they're like, what's your long-term plans? And that's kind of like an ode to that. Which is crazy, but I think that it's given me a lot of peace. I just had Russell's vet appointment yesterday and they're like, he's a senior dog, which I cannot believe. He's 7 years old. But like, what a blessing to be able to grow older. He almost died of parvo when he was a puppy. So he is a miracle baby in his own. So it's given me a lot of peace that eventually I'm like, gosh, I had always thought like, God, the day that he goes, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do, but Mia's there. He's there.
They would be reunited.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Russell has been such a huge support for you during this time. Dogs are such amazing, like emotional regulators. Yes. So I'm sure that's been really helpful. And I'm wondering, big or small, like what other things have been helpful for you during this time of grief?
Thank you. Yes. I would say getting out and walking my dog that's what dogs are good for, is getting you outside. Oh my gosh. I cannot explain how important it is to just breathe fresh air. Luckily, I live in Texas and the weather has been amazing. I know if I'm living in someplace snowy, that I'm originally from Indiana, so I have felt the cold. Okay. I'm due for this good weather now. But
we live in Southern California, so we also can't complain. Like, we get it.
So getting outside. Before all of this, I had heard a quote that depression can't hit a moving target. And I thought that was so smart. I mean, of course, like depression can hit. It just makes it a little bit harder if you're moving. So as long as I'm moving, I feel like I can do anything. Like I just feel so much more optimistic. So getting out, that was specifically hard when I was first recovering because I was also recovering from a C-section. So I could not get out and about. That was making grief really hard because I was physically recovering and mentally going through all of this.
That's just not fair. None of it's fair. But the fact that you also have to do the physical, the healing is just an extra level of,
Yeah, that was particularly unfair. Hard. So my first couple days home, we would just sit in my backyard just to get fresh air because I couldn't really move too much. So it was just like taking it all in. So getting outside, that has helped a lot. I've talked a lot on my social media about my 2 p.m. coffee runs. Those have really saved me in a lot of ways. So I go out and go get a good coffee from a local coffee shop. If I have to go to Starbucks, I will. Early on when I couldn't really get out, I would just DoorDash it. 2 p.m. coffee or tea, if you would like that. It's more of a congratulations, you've made it most of the way through the day. Keep going. Just keep going. And it's like for that maybe 30 minutes, if you're drinking that, you can just kind of relax, enjoy that little thing. If you like chocolate, maybe eat chocolate. Something to just kind of congratulate yourself because when you're going through something this hard, you need something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A little win, a little treat. I also wanted to ask about your husband, and I'm sure this has been tough for you guys and really shows the importance of who you pick as your life-term partner, and the importance of who you marry. So I would just love to know like how he's doing, how you guys are doing together. And give you the space to talk about that too.
This has been, I had always heard that like having a baby is a real test to your marriage or relationship. And I'm like, this is like on steroids, like going through like having a baby and losing her as well has been a really big test to us because we're kind of going through grief together, but also we also grieve at different times and kind of figuring that out. And my husband has always been a great support to us. And I think him seeing me go through this as well, he said like, we have really never been more attracted to each other going through all of this, as weird as it sounds, because
that's really sweet. That's really unexpected and really wholesome.
It's just like the comments that we've said to each other, like, you're so strong, like things like that are just things. I'm also a words of affirmation girl. So I'm like, oh my God, like these are just like, it's really, it makes you see what's important in life. And like the small things like, can you load the dishwasher and stuff? It's like, let's just like pause this. What's happening? We're also in grief counseling too, because it's not easy. It's not just easy going through this. We really do love each other so much, but we, again, are grieving at different times and in different ways. And so having kind of a mediator to kind of go like, okay, let's talk about things that maybe you don't talk about all the time, or how can we work on this communication style and things like that. I really think all relationships can help with that too. Just being able to talk things out. Again, I've been with Omar for 10 years. We have gone through so much dating other people. We did long distance and everything. And at the end of the day, like also our humor is so big and important to us to be able to laugh during all of this. We had like a bit going on. Sounds awful.
Tell us the bit.
So when I got home from the hospital, my mom was with us as well. And we were watching like the Eddie Murphy documentary that was on Netflix. And she got on the subject about how she used to have a puppet when she was a child named Lester. And this puppet, we found him online, is this terrifying puppet. And so it just become kind of a bit of like the week that I got home from the hospital of just sending this terrifying puppet to each other. And we had like photoshopped
like unexpectedly, like, oh, I have a text message of the puppet.
Things are terrible. Here's this terrible puppet.
Like Lester, my husband like photoshopped him on top of like our Christmas tree and like just things like that. It was just like, it's just like so much humor when you're with someone and you're really weird for a long time. It's hard to think about like anybody else getting that weird with you ever again. Like we just have like 10 years of just of bits and humor that it cannot be explained. And to be able to find someone else to laugh, like being a funny person, you need to find someone who's also funny. Even if other people don't even find you funny, if you find yourself funny, find someone who also thinks you're funny. Because just laughing during these times is it's just needed. And other people may not want to laugh during these times, but we just know that humor is so important in our relationship that it's just how we get through everything. It can be also frustrating if you're in a relationship with someone who's humorous, because like when you're fighting or like arguing or something, and then they like want to make you laugh. That's what happens. Like I'll get frustrated and I'll like pull out a joke and I'm like, that's not fair. Like, that's not fair. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I wish I had like more of a rule book of like finding someone you love that can literally thick and thin. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It sounds like you made a really good choice in a partner, and these types of really traumatic, terrible things can sometimes break couples or cause a lot of issues. And it sounds like you guys like doing the grief counseling and also relying on jokes and comforting each other in the ways that you need is really encouraging to hear. And I'm so glad you have that support and that you can joke about. Was it Lester?
Lester, the puppet.
Lester. It's wonderful. I think I've seen you talk about this on your page a little bit, but your thoughts on like how you feel about motherhood at this point, and kind of like probably the confusing, or like, do you consider yourself a mom, and like how do you talk about that, or how has Mia shaped that for you?
It's very cool experience because on my social media I have talked about like what's the definition of a mom. Even before I was pregnant, when I just had Russell, when I would call myself a dog mom, there's always people in the comments who are like, you're not a real mom, like all this stuff. And it's
right.
Or like you're discrediting other moms, and kind of the definition of a mom. It's literally like a 3-letter word, but like it's hard to define.
Multifaceted.
Yeah. It's multifaceted because you would say like, oh, it's someone who has a child. Well, I have a child. She's not here. Also, like I have my son, which I care for and love as my child as well. So I definitely would say that I am a mom. I'm a dog mom and a lost mom, but altogether I am a mom. I think the more that we try to pin down the definition of the mom, we're definitely going to exclude people who need to be here and deserve to the title of mom. There's also moms out there that don't deserve the title of moms, people who've gone through really hard situations with parents and moms that they would say their biological mom doesn't even deserve the title of mom. So it's kind of like, what is that definition? Hard to say, but I think you know it. You just know that you love mom or not.
That's a great answer. And I like the term lost mom, or I hadn't heard that before, but I could see that being like also helpful just even on social media and finding the niches of people who've gone through something similar and how that kind of builds community.
Yeah, most definitely. I was thinking about like, gosh, these just simple questions that I would get normally, like, oh, do you have any kids? Like, I'm like starting to think about that as I get out there. Like, what do I say? Like, are you ready for a story? Because I had somebody ask me recently. It was a moment where they could ask me. It was not very weird. The way that they asked me like, oh, like, are you planning on having kids? I was like, I think so. Like, they're like, oh, when are you planning on starting a family? And I just said, I'm sorry, but I don't want to ruin your day. Like, and it was just kind of like understood. It was just a woman who was also a mom. And it was kind of this mutual understanding of like, okay, there's just so much, these normal questions that seem normal or not normal to everyone. And it's hard for me even to say that like, oh no, you can't ask those questions anymore because they do just seem normal. Like, oh, how many kids do you have? Or when you're pregnant, people are always like, oh, is this your first? And like maybe someone who's gone through a miscarriage or stillbirth, like that's kind of a hard question. I don't know how to navigate that still. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that it might be a very hard question for some people to hear.
It's a tough one. I did it the other day at a Christmas party. I asked a couple if they were planning on having kids. And then later my boyfriend was like, they just had a miscarriage. And I was like, oh, well, fuck me. Yes. I felt terrible. But it is like sometimes those normal questions or even just like, even if you lost a parent or a sibling and you ask about someone's parents, it's one of those things where like, you can't really say like never ask that, but it is always like, you never know if someone could be going through something. So just like be prepared and I don't know, approach everything with kindness and awareness as the only thing I can think of how to approach those weird situations that just happen in life sometimes. Yeah. And maybe one day you can't just choose to ruin someone's day. You have that ability now. I do. You could just hit him with that, well, let me tell the unexpected answer.
I feel like I'm one of those people, like before I go somewhere, well now especially I'm like, before I go somewhere, I'm like in my head, like thinking like, if someone asks this question, like before I saw this person that was going to ask this question, I was thinking like, okay, like how am I going to navigate? Like, what am I going to say? And like my brain just went blank. And then I was like, then I said something, and that's actually the smartest thing I could have said. Like, I don't want to ruin your day. And it really helped both of us go at ease. Another thing is this bugged me while I was pregnant, is people saying like, you should wait to tell people, like when you're pregnant, like you should wait. And I think that's also been a big issue for people because they say like, oh, you should wait to tell people because like, what if it doesn't work out? Then you then have to tell people. But it's like, to me, it's worse to then tell someone, I was, and then I wasn't. It's like
suffer in silence, have no one there to support you.
That's also a big issue. And it's also kind of like, I lost my baby at 37 weeks. Like, when was the right time to tell people? Like, that was 9 months. So it's kind of like these things happen. So again, also if you're listening to this and you're pregnant and people have told you to wait, do whatever you want to do. It's also like, if you want to wait to tell people, if you've gone through loss in the past and you want to wait to tell people, that's also totally understandable. Like, everything's understandable.
I was just going to say, I'm not a mother and I haven't experienced that yet, but I have always found it a little bit odd personally when they say the golden rule, you need to wait till 12, 16 weeks or however to tell anyone. Cause I've always thought like miscarriages are way more common than we realize, because we kind of like keep it a secret until a certain point, until it's like more potentially viable, which I think your advice of do whatever feels right for you is absolutely the best thing. But also it feels like we're adding maybe a little bit of stigma to miscarriages or talking about it or stillbirth and loss, when we do try to keep it a secret to a certain point. And I think the more that people are open to sharing those when it feels right is what seems right to me. And just having it be a personal decision rather than a like, this is industry standard. You have to wait until this many weeks to share. Cause like, also there's nothing wrong with sharing about loss too. And it's so common. And I think the more we talk about it, it reduces stigma and it builds more of a community and support for people through these times. That's my soapbox. That's what I was going to say.
I definitely agree. I also want to say to the miscarriage community, I have gotten a lot of DMs of people who say like, I know this doesn't compare, like say like almost like discrediting their loss because of how far along I was in mine. And I would say like loss is loss, like grief is grief. Like it all impacts people in different ways. And it's all just different. Like it is different. I will say people wrote me, like as an example, people have wrote me saying like, I lost my mom. I can't imagine like your loss. And then I'm imagining like if I lost my mom and I'm like, I can't imagine that loss. Like, it's almost it's just nobody grief is like, it's just such an array in all different ways. And if anything, I hate it when people say like, I know exactly what you're going through, because I don't think any loss is the same. It's all different and it all hurts. Like, that's all I can say about that. When someone writes me and they say like, I can't imagine, like, I can't imagine yours either, because it's just all different.
I was going to ask along the same lines of, you know, kind of unintentionally maybe hurting with certain comments and things like that. I'm sure that sometimes it can be difficult to figure out how to support someone during this time that is going through a loss like this. And I'm sure that there have been ways that you felt super supported and ways that have been like, oh, that hasn't been very helpful. If you were to kind of maybe give just a few examples of support that has felt like really good to you during this time, whether it's just like a text that I'm thinking about you or things like that, for people who might know somebody going through something like this.
Yes. I will say, do try not to avoid people who are going through loss. That realization almost hurt even more, because I was thinking so much about how am I going to talk to people, that I did not realize that there were going to be people who don't want to talk to me because they feel uncomfortable. And that's even worse. So if anything, if you feel uncomfortable about what they're going through, just try to imagine what they're going through. So just telling people like, I'm here if you need to talk, or just doing something. They say the same thing about like when someone has a baby, like, do you need any help? Or just say like, hey, I'm going to DoorDash you some Starbucks. Like just doing something helps a lot, just so their brain is not even thinking about it. That's been super helpful. Not avoiding talking about the loss either. I love it when people say my daughter Mia's name, or just talk about her like she existed because she did. That's what I enjoy. I just love hearing people say her because she was here. Those have been really the helpful things.
So you kind of have touched on this in some other answers, but if there's anything else that you feel like you didn't express, or something you want to share again of just kind of someone else who's going through the same thing, like what message would you have for them who's listening to this podcast?
Yeah, really good question. I would say I've been sharing my story on social media, and it's not just because I have a platform. I mean, I have a platform, it is there, but I also just feel like it needs to be talked about. So if you're scared about sharing it with other people, or just putting it out there, talking about it, anything, your community will find you. Even if maybe you have friends that have not been there for you, or family, people disappoint you when you're going through grief. But there's a community out there that does care about you. So don't be afraid to talk about it. If you feel comfortable talking about it, just get out there. The right people will find you. Like you guys found.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And we're so glad that we did, because this is not a topic that we have touched on, miscarriage in an episode before, but stillbirth we have not touched on. And yeah, I think you're so right. It is not talked about enough. And I'm sure there's a lot of I'm sure there's a lot of shame around this topic as well. And that's why, you know, it isn't talked about, and it shouldn't be, obviously. So I commend you for being so vulnerable and talking about your experience. And, we want to take a second to honor Mia as well. And just thank you for being here and talking about her and your story.
Thank you so much, everyone listening, and sitting with this uncomfortability if you've not gone through this experience. And it means so much that the lost mom community is out there, and we're getting a spotlight because we matter. These children, these babies, they also matter as well.
This has maybe been the most I've cried during a guest interview, actually. For those who are listening and not watching the YouTube recording, I think my eyes have just had a steady, like, mist glow the entire time.
Yes. That's where I've been living at.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much, Shelby. We are I'm just honored, really, truly. And I know it's always painful to relive experiences, but It means a lot to us and our listeners. And I'm excited to keep following your journey and to see updates with Russ and Omar and your sweet family and Mia. And we're just so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Do you want to plug your socials again really quick, just so people can know where they can find you?
You guys can find me at Boople the Snoot. I share funny dog relatable content with a side of heartache now. So hope to see you guys there and love you.